When we set out to do something, we of course aim to do it well. No one intentionally tries to do a poor job. But striving for perfection and never feeling satisfied can lead to frustration or can even cause procrastination or prevent you from starting at all. And at some point we need to accept that something is good enough to allow ourselves to move forward. Welcome everyone, my name is Tobias Philipp and the topic of this episode is deciding when something is good enough and acceptable. Having an eye for detail and striving for perfection is a good quality. But when, for example, packing a suitcase for a vacation, you eventually need to make a decision. You must decide what to bring and what to leave behind. Because spending hours trying to figure out the best items, what to bring, is in my opinion a waste of time. And how can you know in advance exactly how your vacation is going to be? Of course, you need to think it through and not forget the most important things, but you cannot bring everything, and is there really a perfect combination of items to pack? And all that extra time you spend packing could be used for other things. And how much is that extra time you spend actually going to bring you? At some point you have to let go of the idea of packing perfectly, because overthinking your packing list won't guarantee you a better vacation. We should aim to set realistic expectations, because if we don't, we will always end up disappointed. And we often aim as high as possible, but that's usually not realistic. Everyone, for example, wants to lose weight and look good very quick. But deep down, we all know that it won't be easy and that it won't go fast. And if we try to achieve it in a very short time, we will end up disappointed. And this leads to dissatisfaction because it feels harder than we initially thought. And that disappointment often causes us to give up. But if we give ourselves time and set reasonable goals, we have a much higher chance of actually achieving them. And reaching those goals will leave us feeling more satisfied, and this satisfaction will motivate us to keep going. So setting realistic expectations help us to stay on track and eventually succeed. And that's why it's so much more important to actually getting something done than for it to be perfect. We have all heard someone say that they'll start something when they are ready, while someone else just starts even though they weren't feeling ready. In the time it takes one person to be ready, the other has already made so much more progress that it becomes very difficult for the first person to even reach that level. And let's say you want to build a house. You can draw and think about it as much as you want, but until you actually start building, there will never be a house. And having an imperfect house is always better, at least in my opinion, than having no house at all. Another challenge we face is the fear of judgment from others. And while many won't admit it, almost everyone cares in some way what other people think of them. Otherwise, we would all stop going to the barber and stop buying new clothes. But even in this case, doing something is always better than doing nothing. It's very easy to hate or to be negative about something, but creating or trying to do something, that is what really is the hardest thing to do. So if you fear the judgment of others, remember that they have probably never tried to do it themselves, and those who have tried to do it or are trying to do it, they will never judge you because they understand how difficult it actually is. So the key point here is striving for perfection is good, but doing something is always better than doing nothing. And a good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week. So just start doing it, do it as well as you can, and remember that is all you can do. And that is my perspective. Let me know in the comments how you view it. Share this episode with someone you think may benefit from it. And thank you again very much for listening.